I went to my first Gen Con! There's a new Eric Lang game with blood in the title! This is the first year that I didn't participate in Gen Can't because I Gen could. I was able to attend this year's Gen Con for the first time, and thanks to this gig that I scored with the demo team for Cool Mini or Not, and I had a fantastic time, and I hope I'm able to do it again next year. I saw and played some great games that are coming out or are out, and we'll talk about a few of them at the end of the show here, but while I was working for CMON, the game I demoed primarily was designed by Diana Jones award-winning designer Eric Lang. Bloodborne, the card game, is based on the brutal video game series known for its high difficulty. And I'll tell you right now, this card game does not pull any of those same punches. Published by Cool Mini or Not, it's sold out at Gen Con and is for 3 to 5 players. In the game, everyone is playing as the hunters that are going through the infamous Chalice dungeon. Now, this dungeon consists of 10 cards, 7 regular monsters, and 3 bosses. Now, there's more than that in the game. Basically, what you do in the beginning in the setup, you're going to collect that many numbers, put the rest of them aside. There's tons of different monsters in the game, lots of varied things that they do, and not knowing what's coming up next is a lot of the game, because a lot of this is going to be push your luck. Now, it's not a deck builder, it's more like a hand builder. Not my favorite description of a mechanic, but really, basically in the game, everyone starts with the same 5 action cards that make up your hand, and throughout the game, you're going to be adding cards to that hand to vary your actions. At the beginning of every round, everyone's going to look at their cards, and then decide what card they're going to play for the round. They put it face down in front of them, and then simultaneously everyone's going to reveal. Then those cards are resolved in turn order. So even though all the hunters are going through the same dungeon and trying to fight the same monsters, you are not working together. The idea behind Bloodborne is the monster's health is on the card and it is represented by these little tokens called blood echoes. You want more blood echoes than the other person. As you're doing damage to the monster, you are collecting blood echoes, and if anything you can do to make the other person not be able to get those blood echoes is going to be points for you at the end of the game. So 2 of the starter cards are red bordered. Those are your basic, just when it's your turn, you will do that damage to that monster. The blood droplet being both the damage you do and the blood echoes you'll collect. You also start with a blue bordered card. That's your Hunter's Pistol. Hunter's Pistol is a good example of a basic instant effect. There are other cards in the game and upgrades that you can get that do other kinds of more varied instant effects. In this case, the Hunter's Pistol works that if you're the only hunter to play the Hunter's Pistol, you get to do your one damage before anyone else, because instant effects are resolved before most any other attacks. So it's a good way that you are able to sneak in and kind of do that one damage, and you're guaranteed at least that one. Hopefully you survive long enough for that to be a benefit. You also have the Transform card. Transform's great because, like I said, everyone's going to be putting these cards face down, and that's the card you're stuck with for that round. So what Transform is basically a delay. It lets you, after all the cards are revealed, you get to see what everyone else has played, and then decide what your card will be for the round based on that knowledge. A lot of this game is going to be guessing what the other players might play, so in this case, you'll be able to get some more information, and that way, maybe make a better decision. Turn order becomes really important in this game, and that's not to say that people who play last have worse decisions than the people who get to play first. They just have different decisions to make. And then finally, you have your Hunter's Dream card. Now, Hunter's Dream does a couple of things. As I was saying before, as you're attacking these monsters, you are collecting blood echoes that become potential points. So as you're collecting this blood, it goes in your collected pool. Now, you want to turn those into points, but right now, just being in the collective pool, they're vulnerable, because if you die, you will lose all of them. First thing the Hunter's Dream does, takes those collected blood echoes, and it moves it down into your bank blood, and now those potential points are going to be permanent points at the end of the game. There's no way or other card effects to be able to take those points away from you. So Hunter's Dream will also, the round you play Hunter's Dream, all of your damage will be half rounded down, so it's easy for you to escape. You'll be able to heal all the way up to full health, and you'll be able to pick up all the cards that you played, because as you play cards, those cards are basically locked down into a use pile, and that's the only way you can get those back. So As you're playing more rounds, your hand's going to be shorter and shorter, so playing Hunter's Dream is the only way you can refresh your hand. And then finally, the thing that Hunter's Dream does is it lets you pick an upgrade card. So in turn order, everyone who played Hunter's Dream in that round, you're going to get to pick one of these upgrade cards. And basically, upgrade cards are going to be do more damage to the monster, more instant effects to help cut people out of the blood party, and more things to try to hurt other players and do damage to other hunters so that they're not able to get to the monster, or maybe to maim the other guy so then when the monster comes in, takes them out and they don't get any of their blood. Now there's two ways to get upgrade cards. Like I said, Hunter's Dream, and another way is actually to die. Dying actually works pretty similar to Hunter's Dream, and honestly, you will die in this game. This is Bloodborne, not Hello Kitty Island Adventure. So when you die, it's resolved in the same time as Hunter's Dream. So the key difference is being you do still get an upgrade card, so you will still pick an upgrade card. You still heal, but all of that collected blood, rather than being banked, is lost, and you don't get to pick up all of your cards. At the beginning of the next round, you'll still have a shortened hand. Sometimes it becomes a decision if you can position yourself based on turn order for next round. If losing a couple blood echoes in your collected blood means you getting a better upgrade card so that you can go in and do a kill for a monster and get a bunch of trophies, that might be the better option. Eric Lang liked to call it death management. You know you're going to die. You have to weigh your options a lot of the time, and that's especially true when you get to the final boss. So a basic monster in the Chalice Dungeon has a couple things on the bottom of the card. First, it's its health. There's a base health for when you're playing with 3 players, and then for every extra player up to 5, you add 1 more. So say you're playing with 5 players, you're going to add 2 blood echoes. So that's its total health. That's also the blood you want to collect. The next thing is going to be a colored lantern. That's the dice that is rolled when the monster attack, and monsters attack first. So what happens is the first player is going to go ahead and roll that die, and the monster will attack everyone simultaneously. Now, there are 3 colors of die. There's a green, a yellow, and a red, and they're all horrible. And at first glance, you look at the green one, you go, oh, 1s and 0s, and then there's like a 2. That's not so bad. Eric Lang and his exploding dice. Anytime you roll one with a plus, you would continue to roll that, and if you keep rolling pluses, you keep rolling, and it continues to add. And that's especially bad on the red die, which has a 2 with a plus, and it has a 4. It also has a 0. Pray for that one. Finally, in the bottom right-hand corner, there is going to be one of 3 symbols that are called trophies. Now, these are monster trophies that you want to collect, and on your hunter board, there are 3 different monster tracks. If you help contribute damage to the monster in the round that it dies, you gain that trophy. At the end of the game, those are going to be total points as well. Now, the difference between regular monsters and the bosses is that if you don't kill regular monsters on the turn that they come out, they will escape. And some of them actually have escape effects that do some bad thing to you if you let them live. Bosses will stay out until they're dead, and all of them are worth 2 types of trophies, so because that can really rack up some points. Once you go through the 10 cards in the dungeon, everyone's going to fight a final boss. The final boss is actually revealed at the beginning of the game because all of them have some sort of persistent effect that will change some aspect of the game. Most of the time when I demoed it, I would do the one that changed your top health from 8 to 6. Yeah, they're jerks. So then once everyone fights the final boss, and let me tell you, once you get to the boss, it gets to be super fun because you have all kinds of upgrade cards, you're doing all kinds of damage, these crazy instant effects are happening and being resolved, and then it becomes almost like a push your luck thing because as you're collecting this blood, there's a chance that you're going to die before the boss is dead. So, because bosses always have all 3 trophy types attached to them, which can be a lot of potential points because that track, once it gets to 3, it jumps from 5 into 8 points. 8 points is a lot of points, especially if you're behind on collected blood echoes. Should I keep attacking the monster, or should I bow out and bank this blood, maybe get out, maybe don't get the trophies that it provides, but at least now I can survive and then have these points be locked down. Like I said, the difficulty of the video game 100% translates. Of course, Bloodborne being in the spiritual successor for Dark Souls, it's the games, those are the games you turn on and you die and then you cry. Be prepared to die a lot. The most fun that my groups had when I was demoing it were the ones that everyone died on the very first turn. For a couple of reasons. One, then they knew immediately, like, oh my god, okay, that can happen. Because honestly, even green die ones can kill you if they do enough damage. I mean, you keep rolling and rolling. If you're unlucky enough to continue to roll pluses and they keep us exploding, you can total party wipe. And then the people who died right away would get upgrade cards right away, and they got to get more upgrade cards, and then they were doing more damage in the game, were doing more cool things. A lot of the card play is kind of depending on what cards you get, but everyone's going to get upgrade cards. Everyone's going to get a fair shot at certain things. And if you play smartly and table talk is encouraged, if you start table talking and talking about, hey, we can play this, I'll play this card and you play this card and we can cut him out of the damage, and then you don't do that thing, or you can make people play cards that looks like it would help both of you, but then you had some sort of trick up your sleeve to make it so that you got more than them and then you screwed them. That's the kind of fun stuff that can happen in this game. A lot of the game's strengths is, one, it's very straightforward. You can sit down and learn this game. Like, I had no problem demoing this game and teaching this game to people. It only takes about one round people to understand the flow of the game, and they go, oh, you can see that light as the first turn, everyone's kind of like, all right, we should probably just all attack this guy, right? So then they start playing cards, and then as the game, like, once it gets past the first round, you can see that light click on people, and they're like, all right, now I get it. And then they start looking at what other people are playing. They start thinking about things they can do to help them get more blood than the other players, and it gets to be super fun. It's a super solid game, and it's one of those games, again, where what you do on your turn is simple, but then once you start seeing the interactions of the cards, then you start to develop strategies. And those are the kind of games that I'm drawn to. Plus, you know that Eric Lang put his heart and soul in every game that he designs. He built this game from the ground up. He was a fan of the series. He knows exactly what Bloodborne, like the essence of it, and he put it into this card game. And it only plays like 30 to 40 minutes, so it's not super deep. It's just satisfying enough. So I wouldn't call it a filler game, but there's enough there to have you can have a good full game feeling, but in a shorter amount of time. If that's something you'd be interested in, that's something your group likes to do, I would say definitely check it out. I mean, overall, Gen Con was one of the most fun, most tiring experiences of my life, and I hope I get to go every year now.
Well said.
What was that voice? What's wrong? Alright, so that's the show. Thank you so much for checking it out. I'm going to have got a bunch more videos coming. I got review copies to do. I got stuff that I bought at Gen Con. Games that I'm excited about. Games! Thanks for watching, guys.